Hey,
Hello, hello,
everybody.
hello, everybody.
Hi.
How is everyone doing out there today? I hope everyone is well. It is Sunday, February the 6th, and we are here, of course, bringing a different type of hope today. I am Aisha Shermaine, aka She. On the panel with me today, I have the coach. Hey, coach.
Hey, everybody. Hey, I am Tan Tate, also known as Conflict Transformation Coach. We're so excited to have you here today. Like Aisha stated, we're bringing a different type of hope today. You guys know that here at the Hope Show, hope also is the acronym for helping others prevail every day. And today we want to do that. You know, it's February. It's like the month of love. And so we just wanted to, well, Aisha will do that. Sorry, I lost my light. But before I go on into that, I'll let Aisha do that. I look a little dark now. Hopefully, my light will come back on. But I want to introduce our special guest panelist today is Sandra Cole Holly. She is a phenomenal woman of God. She's a phenomenal woman, period. I'm going to let her tell you her story. I'm going to jump off camera and try to get my light right, and then I'll be back on. But you guys, go ahead. Sandra, say
Awesome.
hello to
Yes, I was going
people.
to say
I am
hello,
Sandra.
Sandra. So, as you guys have been seeing, there has been flyers floating around on the Hope Show page, on my page, on the coach's page. Today, we are coming to you to bring up empowerment for women. Throughout the month of February, we will be doing this Women in Love Empowerment Summit, and it'll be every Sunday at 5 p.m. We will be having different guests on the panelists. Hence, Miss Sandra is here today. On today, we will be talking about domestic violence. I'm sorry, and broken love. Basically, I know for the three of us, we all have been a victim of domestic violence.
Yeah.
So today we're here to just try to enlighten and empower other women who may be dealing with it, who have survived it, maybe going through it and not realize they're going through it. So we will have Miss Sandra go ahead and start, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Again, my name is Sandra Cole Holly, and I have been a victim of domestic violence, and not just physical, because many times we think that um, domestic violence is only physical, but abuse is abuse, be it verbal or mental. It can be physical. It can be emotional. It can also be financial. People can misuse you financially and put you in a deep debt. That's violence, a type of violence, against you. And uh, many times we think that because we wasn't half killed, so to speak, that we have not been violated. But again, those violations can come in many different forms, domestic just being one of them, but there are many types of abuse and violence.
Absolutely. And I definitely agree with you. So we are going to get in just a little more depth as far as, our stories for each of us on the panel, just to kind of basically go through and just let you know what we've been through and why we're able to talk about it and be a breath of hope or someone that you can, reach out to if this is your situation or if it applies to you and maybe you didn't realize it applies to you. So, Coach, did you want to add anything before we, since you
No,
came
I
back?
really first just want to say to everyone who's watching, hello. I see my number one is in the comments there. Mr. Tate said hello, honey. And as you come in, if you hear this or if you're watching through the replay, please remember to tag somebody, like and share, and engage with us. We're talking today about women in love. And we have the quotations around in love because often what's in love is not truly love. Today's topic is domestic violence and broken love. And I see Renee's in the comments. Hey, Renee. And so
Hey, Renee.
I want to start right there because when you're in love, it shouldn't hurt you physically. When you're in love, it shouldn't hurt you mentally or emotionally or spiritually. So a lot of times I first want us to just chat. Guys, we just gonna talk. We just gonna chop it up and chat about it. You know, so if it's okay with the panelists, I just want to first let's define what's in love.
Yes, I
So,
agree. Good
um,
question.
Sandra, we'll go with you, girl. What is okay? Let's do this in two ways. First, give us what is not in love or what we think is in love. Because a lot of times I hear people say,
Hmm.
I'm in love. I love him. I love him. So help us understand what is in love. I'll just put it out there however you guys want to do it that way. But what is in love?
That's funny that I was
I
listening
know.
to. Hmm?
I'm sorry because first let's set it like this. Let's do it like this, girl. Because hey, there is love and then there is in love.
Hmm.
Yes.
So let's define. Let's talk about this thing. Love and then in love. Give your spiel on that.
That's funny. There was a pastor on this morning, and he was speaking about being in love, and he talked about if you can be in love, then you can fall out of. If you fall in love, then you can also fall out of love. And I believe people's definition of in love is a strong emotion or a strong attraction to one another, and they think because I'm strongly attracted to you, that makes me be in love with you. Well, what happens when the person is no longer attractive? What happens uh, when those strong emotions are not there through some type of domestic violence or just a disagreement. you know Many times we think disagreements mean that the person that we say we're in love with, it's funny that we're in love with them until they disagree with us, and then they become our enemy and we treat them like people on the streets. So I just think that people's definition of being in love is a strong emotion, strong attachment, and a strong level of attractiveness to someone, which is eros. But
Okay.
that eros type of love.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Aisha, girl, what you got? So, Sandra, so you're saying the Eros love is all about attraction.
It's all about attraction, sexuality,
Okay.
sensuality, all of those things. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Oh, we can't hear.
We can't hear you. Mm. Hey, Cherish. We see you in the house. Thank you for joining us. This is a Women's Empowerment Summit today. It's the month of February, right? And so, Aisha and I, we were talking last week, and we were just chatting up about the things that women go through when we're supposed to be in love. And that's why you see it's called Women in Love. We have our guest panelist today, Sandra Cole Holly, who is going to share with us. I like to call it the power of the W because
I like
not
that.
is she a guest panelist, but she is my sister by love, and I know that um, if there was ever a superwoman that I could see her with that S tatted because she is definitely that. But she's going to be providing us wisdom. She's going to be providing us a word. She's going to be providing us with what works. So it's all about the power of the W. And she's already broken down one aspect of love. She talked to us about the Eros love, which is about an attraction. And I think sometimes we get caught up in attraction. And I think you said that you were watching a pastor today, and he says that if you can fall in love, you can fall out of love.
Yes, yes,
I I totally agree. And sometimes for me, I had to learn that love is one thing,
mm-hmm.
being in love is another
So,
thing, something totally
totally different.
different. It's it's almost like that. To me, in love is the verb to love because it's about the
Yeah,
action.
that's good. Yes,
And so, if you ever wondering, you know, do I love him? Am I in love? You know, one way to test that is what do your actions show?
yes, yes.
So, Sandra, what's your comments on that?
When you love someone, I was just looking at this definition, right? And this definition
Hmm.
says, what does it really mean to be in love? And it says, being in love means desiring the happiness of your partner, um, admiring them for the individual that they are, and feeling motivated to be a better person when you're with them. And I think now that's like a wealth of information for being in love, because then it balances out that eros side that I was talking about, that attraction side. When you are able to, when you have a desire to fulfill your partner's needs, and they have a desire to fulfill your needs. It's when you're willing to compromise, despite whether or not you agree or like the challenge that you're being faced with. But when you're able to say, look, um, this makes me uncomfortable, I don't like this, but because I love you, I'm going to do my best to adhere to this, whatever this short decision is or this challenge is. um, I also think that God's godly love, the agape love, that's the kind of love that's never ending, never changing. It's the love of God, and that's the love that He has. That's the way He wants us to love each other. He's like Christ says, tells the husband, love the wife as Christ loved the church, and gave Himself forward and dwell with her according to knowledge, as unto the weaker vessel. So many times, it means there's a giving up of your desire, so to speak, or having things always go your way, and being able to compromise for your mate, so that they can, be comfortable knowing that you love them. And many times you win them over. The Bible said we're won over by love, and so we win people over when they see that we're willing to sacrifice on their behalf.
I love that because that was another W word, win and one. It's all about the power of the W. And I see Aisha's back. Let's see if her audio is on. Mic check, mic check.
Hey, girl.
All right, she's back. Okay. So to kind of bring you up to speed, we're still talking about in love and love. We're defining that because a lot of times we're not educated. All we know is
Hmm.
what we've experienced. And oftentimes, what we've experienced is not the truth. It's not the way it's supposed to be. You
Mm-hmm.
know, mom's her mom going through fighting with her dad. So now she fighting with her husband. So now you fighting with your mate because this is what love has looked like to us. So today we're here to talk about um, women in love, broken love, and domestic violence. And all of the examples and what Sandra has shared so far, I didn't see not one place where it was okay to hit on somebody. But
Yes.
before we jump into that part, Aisha, we'll let you talk to us about love and in love.
Okay. So, as I was stating, to me, there is a difference in being in love with someone and loving someone. Like, naturally, people love someone. You love your kids, you love your parents, you love people that you may encounter throughout life. To me, it's a difference of like being in love, because being in love it should be more intimate. It should be, I guess, kind of a connection to the person. But not only that, it should definitely be unconditional. It shouldn't come like at a cost. Like, you shouldn't have someone telling you they love you if um you do this for me, or if you give me X amount of money, or things like that. Love to me should be supportive. It should be unconditional. It should be almost like flawless in a sense. Like, you know why you're there. They know why they are with you. And it's just, I don't know. To me, it's just like a vibe and a connection. It's unexplainable, but it's without drama, if that makes sense. Does that make
Right.
sense what I'm
I
saying?
understand what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes sense. But I just want you to know that there may be some drama because I'm in love with Mr. Tate, and y'all know we drama filled. We keep the drama
But
going,
y'all,
but it should
it's a
be
difference
healthy.
in
It
drama
should be
and
healthy.
yes,
Yes, it should
Yeah.
be
Healthy. Yeah.
healthy. Right.
yes,
I know
yeah,
what you're
healthy.
saying,
That's
but
the word.
some people take it and they run with it. So
Yeah,
whatever conflict that are dealing with, it should be a catalyst for change.
right,
Yeah.
So it should be healthy. It should be healthy. It's I'm just piggybacking off of what Aisha Shermaine is saying, and it should be healthy. And then we have some comments that I want to address because we are just chatting it up. We're just talking about it right now. We're
Mm-hmm.
in the part about love and being in love. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have this comment here. It says, I was a victim of domestic abuse for over 10 years. I was very defensive with my family because of their input. You have to realize on your own. And when I did, I was done and able to walk away. And
yes,
so it took me like 3 or 4 times to read to get what Renee is saying. Hey, Renee, she's tuning in by way of Monroe, Louisiana. And I totally understand
Yes.
because your family love you, if you're in a domestic violence situation, because your family love you, they are going to try to protect you and interject because they
Mm-hmm.
want you safe and sound and whole. And so I understand when you're saying that you were very defensive, you had to
Yeah.
get to that point on your own.
right,
And because even when I tell my story, I like to say it like this. I was addicted to what I thought love was.
Yeah.
right,
And because I was addicted, it was like that was my crack. So Aisha talked about all costs. So at all costs, I was gonna do what it took to get my fix.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with him whooping on me. I was
Wow.
okay with him cursing me out. I was okay with him strangling me. I was okay with him throwing me down a flight of stairs while I was pregnant. I was okay with him raping me.
Wow.
I was with that because I was an addict.
right,
I was addicted to what I thought in love was.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand, and my family was saying, one memory I have clearly in my head is when my mom told me one day, she says, Dude, you're going to get somebody killed
Yeah.
because people don't want to see you mistreated.
right,
And that was after my ex-husband had shot at my brother with a 357 gun.
Mm,
Y'all would have thought that I would have been done, but I wasn't.
mm,
I still went
Right.
back because I was an addict. So the first thing I would say to family members who are listening, because you say I wouldn't do that, because you say, girl, you crazy, you stupid, you a fool, you this and you that,
Mm-hmm.
that's not helping.
That does.
You have
right.
to begin to look at it like this is somebody who is an addict. What can I do to get them out? And that means you first got to get help. Because if your
Right.
motive is to save your daughter, to save your son, because listen, more men are victims of domestic violence than we think.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
family, if your motive is to save your loved one, son, daughter, you have to realize and take this approach. They're not in a healthy mindset. Because don't
Mm-hmm.
nobody want to be whooped. So if
Mm-hmm.
we
Exactly.
putting ourselves through that, that means that we something is unhealthy, unstable mentally and emotionally, spiritually for us.
That's so true.
So again, if you can look at it through the eyes of an addict, when you try to help an addict, right now I can't think of what that prominent drug is. Um, People are overdosing from it. It's almost like it's a prescribed drug. I can't think of it, but a lot of celebrity
Percocets.
Yeah.
children have. Say it again.
Percocets. Perks. Molly.
Um,
Percocets.
it's not
No.
that. It's like the medical term for like pain medicine or whatever. I can't
Mm-hmm.
think of it. It's right on the tip of my. But anyway, if I think about it, I'll speak it. They are being advocates to get this drug, under control. They are being
Mm-hmm.
advocates for their loved ones. They're speaking about it. They're not belittling them. They're not telling them, they're not further attacking their self esteem. They're trying to get them to a safe place where they can get the help they need.
Mm-hmm.
In our community, we got to be willing to do that. If you got
Yeah.
a daughter or a son that's going through domestic violence, I'm going to say this point and then I'm going to open it up to the rest of the panel. For you to only tell them that they crazy, that they stupid, that they're a fool, that you wouldn't take that you wouldn't go through that, you're further pushing them towards where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
We have the domestic violence hotline scrolling across the screen. And I encourage you to reach out. You don't have to be the victim to use that number. You can be the loved one of someone going through, and they can provide you resources and guidance on how to take health steps to remove your son or daughter from that situation. Okay, go ahead. Somebody go ahead, cause whew,
Absolutely. And I would say too, as a family member on the outside looking in, it's always about approach as well. Because oftentimes the person that is in the situation, one, they're going to be in denial. They really think, well, I know in my situation, I really thought that I was, hiding
Mm-hmm.
it. But of course, when you're trying to hide something as major as that, your patterns change sometimes and things for
Mm-hmm.
you change. So as a person on the outside looking in, you want to make sure when you approach it that you don't just approach it in a sense of making them feel worse than they already feel. Because oftentimes, sometimes to the victim, it's embarrassing, or you feel embarrassed, or you feel stupid. I mean, honestly, this is how I felt dealing with it, and I'm just like, how could I tell someone like me knowing who I am? I'm smarter than this. How did I get myself into this
Mm-hmm.
situation to even allow someone to treat me in such a way? How am I gonna tell the coach this? How am I gonna tell my sister this? How am I gonna tell my mama this? Like, this is embarrassing. So in my mind, I had to figure my own way out because I didn't want anybody to make me more ashamed or embarrassed than I already felt. So just make sure when you go to them, if you have a hint that is happening or if they even told you, just, I'm not gonna say tread lightly, but just make sure your approach is not one that makes them draw away from you.
Yes. That's good. And I would like to add to that. That's really called healthy confrontations. Again, many times, like when she talked about the approach, making sure the approach is right, is correct. You start off with a story, because stories draw people, and sometimes you find something that fit that category or fit that situation, that you can relate to, and you begin to talk to them about that, and then lead into the conversation about the abuse. I know in my situation many years ago, I thought that because I fought back that it wasn't abuse. So I never, if someone would have told me that I was being abused, uh, my first 2 years in, I never would have thought that, because I would fight back. But one day I realized that, wait a minute, if I wasn't living this way prior to knowing you, and I didn't allow these things, and I didn't have these kinds of experiences, then there is something wrong with this relationship. There's something toxic about it. And so I began to tell my late husband that, look, I'm not going to take any type of abuse from you, mental, physical, verbal, just financial, and it didn't matter. No type of abuse, because I wasn't designed for that. And I said, I'm not used to living like that. I don't want to wake up and argue and fight every day. But I took a stance. The thing is that you got to have the healthy confrontations with your family members if you think that or suspect that they are dealing with any type of abuse. The other thing is that, when you confront that person that's delivering the abuse, you want to make sure that you are firm in what you say, that you don't make false, what do they call it, promises. Whatever you say you're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you follow
Follow
through on,
through.
because they'll
Mm-hmm.
begin to respect that. Then the third thing I want to say is that respect is for ourselves is something that's commanded by our lifestyle. We can't demand people, like, and we see this a lot with guys who say, they try to make you respect them, demand you to respect them. And then when they feel disrespected, then that abuse that sets in, that anger, that violence, all of those things start coming in. But if we are demanding people to respect us, then we've already lost respect, because our lifestyle should command that. And so when people come into our presence, there should be something about us that's very different from others. And even when with that mate that thinks that they're going to abuse you, the sooner you um, uh, address the issue of abuse with them, the sooner you will be out of it. Like, you don't go and let it linger. The minute those red flags start going up, those are things you start addressing immediately. And because you want to let them know that, no, I'm not the one, I don't want to live with this. I didn't sign up for this. And now that I recognize that it is some type of abuse, I can't settle right here. And that means, like she said, that number for domestic violence is strolling across the bottom of the screen. Get help immediately. And again, as Tan said, the help is not just for those who are experiencing domestic violence, but if you call that domestic hotline, they can also give you some pointers and some wisdom on how to address and approach your family members or your loved ones who are experiencing that.
I love that. And I want us to take maybe a one or two steps back. In love starts with you. How are you in love with yourself?
Yeah,
Because if you don't love you, it's hard to know what love is from somebody else.
yeah,
Very valid points. And as a coach, I like to say it like this: you coach people how to treat you.
yes,
So if you don't have that healthy confrontation, a lot of times we shy away from the C word, conflict and confrontation. But
mm-hmm.
those two C words lead to one positive word, change.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Confrontation and conflict, when dealt in a healthy manner, leads to positive, healthy change, which is what we all want to see.
Yes,
So we're gonna get back to the domestic violence piece, but here I think we want to talk about broken love, because if you broke, if how you loving you is broken, then you can't enter into a healthy in love with someone else because you're not in love with you. So, Aisha, I'll let you take this on first. Talk about being in love with you.
Yes, and actually, before when I was initially first talking, I had meant to say that because um if you guys watch the Hope Show, we had talked about this on the Hope Show too before about being basically in love with you before someone can love you. How can you expect someone to love you when you don't know, when you don't love yourself? Like when you don't know what it is about you that you like, how can you expect somebody else to have an answer? Oftentimes we get into these relationships and we expect so much from the other person that we don't
Mhm.
even realize we're not even giving it to ourselves. And not only are we not giving it to ourselves, but the way that we treat ourselves is basically how we are displaying to the person we're with or potentially with that this is how I want to be treated. Because they're going to look at it and say, hey, well, this is what you do for yourself and this is how you treat yourself. So why do I have to be any better than what you're doing for you? But if you buy yourself flowers and a steak dinner every now and then, then they know they can't do anything less than what you do for yourself. What you allow for yourself and how you treat yourself is what you basically are teaching others to present you with as well. So it's definitely important that you heal from childhood wounds, from broken love in a previous relationship, if there's issues with parents, you have to heal all of that before you can honestly and genuinely experience self-love and
Mhm.
love from another person. It just will never be. And I'm speaking because I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Just in recent times, I feel like I'm starting to experience a different type of situation as far as dating and stuff, because for the longest I was accepting certain things, but I had to realize for me, maybe I was accepting certain things because I didn't really value me too much. I was
Mhm.
still hurting from my parents and the stuff that I feel like I experienced as a child. I'm still sometimes I still ponder, how my life is right now as far as me being a single mom. That was never my plan. But instead of always looking at the negative of what's, happening from you, you have to find the positive from it and just figure out a way to get what you need from whatever the situation is, apply it, love yourself, heal. Most important, you have to heal from any and everything that you go through so you don't carry that baggage on and on to next situations
Mhm.
and so forth, so that you are being healthy as well as receiving healthy. You can't get healthy without giving healthy. And that's just my perception
Love it.
on you being in it with yourself first. So date yourself if you need
Love
to,
it.
love
Yeah.
yourself if you need to, take
Mhm.
yourself on a date. It's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That
And
way
somebody may
you
be
can
saying, well,
tolerate,
I don't know
what
how
you
to.
would tolerate.
Right. I love
Mhm.
it. And Sandra, if
Mhm.
you can speak to this part that I'm going to mention right now. Someone may be saying, I don't know how to love me. I don't know how to heal. I don't know what you mean date yourself. I don't even know what that looks like. All I know is that my big mama took this off of my big daddy. My mama took this off of her husband. All I know is what I've experienced. So now you trying to talk to me about dating myself, girl, and all of that. I don't know what that looks like. How can a person heal? And I want you to think about that. What does so for you, Sandra, if you can help us understand, how do we date ourselves? How do we heal? How do we get past the generational curses? About it, I just want to take a minute to welcome in some of the our faves that I see. Hey, Keisha, we're glad you're here. Renee was here. Crystal was here. Cherish was here. And if you're here and I can't see you, we just welcome you in. You're watching the Women in Love Empowerment Summit. It's the month of February, and we're talking about
Yeah.
women in love. And we're starting off, this is going to be a 4-part series. Today, we're talking about domestic violence and broken love. Oh, look, the Millie is in the Millie. The Millie is in the
Hey,
audience.
TJ.
And so we're just talking about domestic violence and broken love. And so far, we've been talking about love and in love, the difference. And if you missed a part of it, we're asking you to please catch the replay because all of this so far has been good. I'm going to turn it over to our guest panelist, Sandra Cole Holly, and she's going to help us as it relates to um, date yourself. How do you heal? What does that look like? How do you get from where you're at to where you need to be? Okay, Sandra, go ahead.
Okay. Well, the first thing is that we have to put away all negative self-talk. You know how sometimes we go through situations and long after that situation has passed and ended, it could be an argument, a major argument, a fight with somebody you love or with your mate. And long after that, we are still stuck right there. So we replay that over and over and over in our mind. And we talk about and as women, we will break down every point of it. I like to say, I heard Miles Monroe and Bishop Hilliard say this many years ago, and I held on to it. It says that women are incubators. And so whatever you give us, we're going to take it, we're going to multiply it, we're going to incubate it, and then we're going to give it back to you in a greater measure. So, I tell my mate today, hey, if you want happiness, then you're going to have to pour that into me. If you want joy, because whatever you give me, because we have a womb and we carry and nurture those things that hit our womb, the womb of our spirit. And so I said, look, if you are angry all the time and or on edge, then you're going to pour that into me. I'm going to incubate it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to hold on to that. And then I'm going to give it back to you, and I'm going to give it to you in a greater measure. And I'm like, and I don't think you want me to be that way. And so knowing that, I had to learn how to balance even that. So I began to make positive affirmations to myself. Get up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how beautiful you are, how loved you are, how much I love me today. I believe in myself. I can accomplish all things. You just think some people believe in God, some people don't believe in God. But I'm going to say this, um, you can't build anything good on a negative. So you got to put positive in if you want to get positive out. So positive can be scriptures or just positive affirmations. But if you put positive in, you're going to get positive out. So that's the first thing I would say is get rid of negative self-talk. When that situation is over, you got to let it go, give it to God, and move on past that. Pray for wisdom. There are many times I've had to ask God, okay, Lord, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know what my response should be. And so as I hear from him, as he began, he'll drop it in your spirit. He'll call someone to call you, send you a text message, something that's right on time. Strangers will walk up to you and they'll say something that you need to hear because you put it in the atmosphere where you want to hear it. Then guess what? It has to come back to you. You're gonna draw that to you. So put away negative self-talk. Speak positive affirmations to yourself about who you are and who God says. The Bible says we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And
Okay,
so
she might be
you got
having
to
a little
believe
technical
that about yourself.
difficulties.
It's like Aisha said, if you don't believe it, then don't expect others to believe it. So I started believing in myself. I started making positive affirmations about myself. And then even though I didn't have a lot of money at the time, I did just what she said. If all I could do was go and get myself an ice cream cone from Dairy Queen and sit there with a nice magazine and read it, because back then Starbucks didn't exist. So I would go find something to do for myself. I uh, I stopped allowing people to take my me time away from me. Every person deserves to have time that they set aside for themselves so that they don't lose themselves and everyone else. And so I began to put aside time for myself. I did what I needed to do for my husband. I did what I needed to do for my children, and I learned to do what I needed to do for myself. And so those are just some things that you can put in the make. Don't cost anything. Put away negative self-talk.
Mm.
Build yourself up through positive affirmations and scriptures, and take yourself on a date. It doesn't have to cost a lot, but even if you just want to go for a walk in the park. And then the fourth thing I'll say is, don't allow people that don't mean you any good to stay in your lives because you think you need them. I look at the relationship, some of the relationships I had, and I realized that I allowed myself to be treated a certain way because I thought I needed them. But in the end, when you really look at it, because you're fearfully and wonderfully made, in the end, you realize you didn't need them at all. They needed you. And the fifth thing I'll say is, don't be angry with people because they don't have the ability to carry you. They don't have that capacity. God didn't put it in them to carry you because they weren't meant for you. And the moment we learn who's meant for us and who's not, guess what? They won't. It'll be easier to break off that relationship or to redefine that relationships. So I asked God things like, God, do I sever this relationship or do I savor it? Because if it's a sever, that means I'm going to cut it. It's a clean cut and I'm done with it. I don't owe anybody an explanation about it. But if it's something I should savor, then I need the wisdom of God on how to savor that relationship. That may just mean redefining it, not allowing them to be pulled so close to my bosom, so to speak, but putting them in a categorizing it. There's some people that they became just holiday friends, holiday people. In other words, I only have grace for you on Christmas. That's it. And we don't have grace. I don't have year-round grace because I wasn't called to you in that area to have year-round grace. I'm only called to this type of grace. And I'm saying this because these are the things that help you to love yourself and show self-love. You know, when you don't have to tolerate being in the presence of people who corrupt your good manners, who challenge your principles, who pull you down, who vex your soul. If people are in your presence and they do that and you allow them to do that, then you're not showing yourself self-love, because self-love protects you. It protects the inner you. And if you protect the inner you, then that will protect the outer you.
Come
Yeah.
on. I love it. That was like so good. If you like wrote down your notes, girl, can you send them to us? Because we want to make a post
Yes.
with those things. You said a couple of things that really stood out to me. And I hope if you're watching this, if you're in the audience, look, it's a summit. You got comments, you got something to say, drop them in the comments. We are here. This is what it's all about. We are women in love. One of the things that you said made me think of the power of forgiveness. Oftentimes, we don't know how to forgive ourselves. We don't know how to forgive others. So we kind of stay within a cell that keeps us down. So if you're somebody who's been dealing with any type of unforgiveness, today I encourage you to forgive and let go. And Sandra said it the best way I like to say it is stop about the negative talk. Stop replaying that incident. I had to stop replaying how I let my ex-husband whoop on me all the time. Eventually I got to the point where I would hit first. And I remember one time, the first time I did it, he was like, "What's wrong with you, Tan? I wasn't gonna even hit you this time." Hey, I don't know that. You don't hit me so many other times. I'm trying to get my lick in because I may not get another one. So again, I was stuck. How did I let myself get so embedded in such a toxic relationship? I thought I was in love. How could I do that? How could I do that? I had to forgive myself. So as you begin to date yourself, as you begin to fall in love with yourself, check your forgiveness or unforgiveness tank, is what I like to call it. And if there are any areas, anybody in your life that you know or incident that you know you need to forgive, go ahead, forgive it and stop the replay and apply these best practices, these principles that Sandra has shared with us because they were powerful. You deserve that in love type of love with yourself and with someone else. The other thing that stood out to me is accountability. Sandra mentioned having those conversations, and she said, don't make any false promises. Whatever you say you're going to do, you need to follow through. So you got to hold yourself accountable and you need to hold your partner accountable. I'm going to talk about my husband right now a little bit, if you don't mind, y'all, because we keep it real. Every once in a while, he like he forget to open the door for me. I could say, oh, he just forgot. Let me go and get the door. I'd be like, no. I'd be like, hello, you tried it. And he'll start laughing. Girl, you crazy. Let me get the door. That's right. You started it. You gonna finish. See, oftentimes when we're dating people, they start out one way because they want to catch you, right? They want to catch you. They want to catch you all the time. You know, they're gonna tell you you look good even when you know you don't look good. Because sometimes up under this wig, my head be looking a mess, and it's something my husband has always done, and he still do. He be like, "Baby, I love you. I love your hair." He'll start playing in it, and me, I be like, "Boy, this mess right here." So, oftentimes people start one way to catch you, want to switch up. Hold them accountable. Like sometimes he try to forget to open up that car door for me, Aisha. I'd be like, "Sir," I'd be standing outside the car. He'd be in the driver's seat, y'all. I'd be standing outside. And he'd be like, "Ten, girl, come on here." When you met me, you was opening the door. When I die, you're gonna be
You're gonna
opening the
be
door.
opening the door.
So don't start nothing that you can't finish. We try it every once in a
Right.
while, y'all. I'm just using this as an example. For the most part, he not for the most part, but 99.9% of the time, he's a gentleman, but he's still human, right? We go out to eat. He gonna pull my chair. He not gonna sit down and leave me standing. He gonna wait till I'm seated. And he a thug. Yeah, I mean, oh, he a reformed thug. I'm like, hey, where did he get all this from?
Oh my
But he
goodness.
got it. And when he tried not to have it, I hold him accountable. So make sure you're holding yourself accountable. Make sure you're holding your partners accountable. The last thing I'm gonna say before I turn it back over to Aisha is we may be talking about relationships with your significant others, but some of you are being abused by your friends. Let me repeat that because in case you didn't get it, some of you are being abused by your friends emotionally, financially, spiritually. Some of your friends are abusing you. That's when you need to do what Sandra mentioned earlier about God. Do I need to sever or savor this relationship? And God gonna tell you what you need to hear. You just got to be obedient when you hear His voice. Don't be second guessing it. Don't be saying, "I know God ain't told me to leave Aisha alone." We've been rolling for I don't know how long. If God told you Aisha need to go, Aisha got to go because God knows and He understands. So although we're talking about domestic violence, we're talking about the total package, the intimate significant other, and then some of your friends, and oh my goodness, some of your family. Some of your
Definitely some.
family has been abusing you emotionally, financially, spiritually, mentally. All of that falls up under domestic violence. It's not just about the hitting, it's a different type of hit. So the things that we're sharing today, it's applicable to every relationship in your life. And this the last one, I promise. And then I should come on and help wrap us up. Because I know we'll get you say something, Sandra say something. We have a giveaway to do. Um, but what I want to say is some of you been abused by the church.
Mm. Mm-mm.
You are not, you were not designed. Sandra said it best. The word says that we were fearfully and wonderfully made. So in either of these categories that we're talking about, we want you to evaluate your relationships in totality. Some of you being abused on your jobs, and you think, thank you, Holy Ghost, and you thinking, I can't get another job. I got to stay here. I've been here 20 years. I'm working on my retirement. That's the same thing you're seeing in that abusive marriage that you're in. I've been here too long to walk away. I got too many kids. I got too many perks. I got too many benefits. So are you selling out your self-love for a temporary solution? So, whew, that was a mouthful. One of y'all go ahead and pick it up for me because I'm just kind of full
I
over
was
here.
just gonna say, don't feel like you're settling. Um, yeah, sometimes it may not be easy to start over, especially with dealing with situations like this. But always know, put yourself first. Make
Completely.
sure that you are getting the most of whatever it is that you're dealing with. And if it does not fit you, by all means, don't settle. Walk away, because you could start over 100 times. In that 100th time, maybe that time that you get what you need ultimately. Whereas you stayed and you kept dealing with this, hoping it would change or hoping they would change or whatever the case, the scenario would change, and it didn't, and you missed out. So don't ever settle and stop. It's okay to start over. It's okay. And to piggyback on what Sandra said, as far as like, I don't lost my whole train of thought, but I knew what I wanted to say. When it comes to basically figuring out how to date yourself and that sort of aspect of it, what I wanted to say was, if you need to write down whatever the situation is, like for me, in order for me to start my healing process, I took a journal and I knew there was some underlying stuff I had with my father. There was some underlying stuff I had with my mom. I even had to write my kid's father a note just for me. It wasn't about them, honestly. It was about me and me just being able to heal. So if you kind of don't know where to go, get your pen and paper out. Write things that bother you, some easy triggers you may have, and that kind of will help you get into the direction of where you need to go and kind of what you need to heal from, so that you are able to start doing the things that Sandra mentioned, so that you're not settling, so that you are able to date yourself, give yourself self-love, and just be about yourself, so eventually you do get that love from yourself that you deserve, as well as the other person,
I love it.
and friends and
And
family
church and job, everybody.
everywhere.
Sandra, are you there? Can you hear me now, Sandra? I know we lost connection. Okay, she might be froze. Look, guy, Aisha said something that I have to piggyback back on. I said I was done, and I'm gonna be done after this. She mentioned the word settle, settlement. Oftentimes, when you think of settle or settling, you're thinking, well, this is just what I'm gonna settle for, and we get caught up in, let me just settle here. But if you can begin to focus on the settlement, because most times, y'all help me out in the comments. I know Renee, I know you still there. I know Keisha, you still there. Anytime you hear somebody talk about, girl, I got a settlement, what's the first thing come to your mind? We're going to give them a moment
Cash,
because there's
money,
a
dollars.
delay. If you can put it in the comments for us, Renee, if you still here, Keisha, if you still here, or who's ever in the comments, when you hear the word settlement, what do you think of when somebody say, oh, girl, I got my settlement today? We're going to take a
Them
few
dollar
minutes.
bills. That cash money.
So I'm gonna give them a minute because I know that sometimes there's a delay. But if you're in the comments and when you can, okay, I see Krista said money, Renee said money, Krista said money. But what kind of money? What kind of money, y'all? I got my settlement today. What
P-
type of money? Aisha, don't
Big
be
money.
egging them on, girl.
Everybody know when we hear settlement, we think
I'm just trying to see. I'm just trying to get a little interaction. Hey, Krista, that's my sissy, y'all. I love you, girl. Right. She say big.
combo
Renee say
money.
insurance money. So it's some type of it's a lot. It's something that you're gonna be able to do something with.
Yes.
So I just as it relates to relationships, all types of relationships, don't just do the settlement. Don't settle. Wait for the settlement. Because if you're waiting on the settlement, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be something you can do something with. You know, little Joe Blow might be showing up. Let me see what Krista said. She said, yes, big money. not no lunch money. Right. So don't allow lunch money people to be prominent in your lives, without saying it in a different way. You want the settlement type of people. You want people who can add
Mm-hmm.
value to you. You want people who can cause you to increase. You want people who do Oprah like she did Gail. I don't care what y'all say about Oprah and Gail. Oprah said, I'm not leaving my friend behind. Gail may not deserve the position that she got at CBS, but hey, when you got a friend that's the settlement,
Mm-hmm.
you can get stuff like that. Some of you guys are cutting off your own settlement because you're settling for the norm. This is about to be a word.
Mm-hmm.
You are
Amen.
settling for the norm. You're settling for what's been normal in your life. You're settling for the abuse. You're settling for um, being stagnant. You're settling for being at the same old job forever, forever, forever. But you need people in your lives. You need to become a person in your life that says, I'm abnormal. I'm looking for the abnormal. I tell Aisha all the time, when you meet somebody new, you're dating, and I even do this with her. The other day, maybe about a week or so ago, we did I like to call it mother-daughter date night, right? We didn't go anywhere, we just sat right here and we talked. And I began to ask her questions. I began to say, tell me about your favorite color. What's your favorite food right now?
Mm-hmm.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? You know, who would you like to spend a day with? These type of questions that get people to go deep and uncover the settlement within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So be willing to be abnormal. It's no secret in my family. They always said that I was the oddball, that I was always the YT one. You can put it
Mm-hmm.
together that I was the YT one. Um, Sandra laughing at me over there, y'all. That's my sister right there. So she know I'm telling the truth. Um, but I was willing to be abnormal. And when you're willing to be abnormal, you're going to get abnormal results. You're going to get the settlement. So do the inventory. We're going to turn it over to Sandra. Do the inventory of all your relationships types. Girl, you was meant to live. You was meant to
Yes.
be loved. You was meant to win. You was meant to be the settlement. The
Mm-hmm.
only way you can be the settlement is for you to stop settling. Okay, Sandra, go ahead, girl. I'm looking for the. Whew, this was good, y'all. We
What's
may
my
go over about 5 minutes of our time, but this was good. Go ahead, Sandra.
That's good. Okay, which what am I addressing? I'm sorry because you all faded out for a minute, so I had to log out and come back in.
Okay, child, just whatever you drop in your spirit, because where the spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom.
Because it's good. This is good. I'm telling you. One, I want to say, don't compare. Don't compare one mate to another.
Mm,
Don't compare your mate now to your ex, because comparison breeds discontentment, and discontentment causes issues to arise in your relationship. So don't compare. Let the person be who you are, and you allow them to be who they are. The other thing I want to say is um, don't limit yourself to a particular race or person. Uh, Allow yourself to explore, because sometimes we get stuck in a box, and then we end up choosing the same type of candy. You ever got those little Valentine boxes? The small ones cost $1, and when you bite into it, there's nothing. It's full of cream, and the cream is full of sugar, and you're thinking, "Man, I hate this candy." If you're gonna give me something, give me some Russell Stovers, something like that. You know what I mean? So don't allow yourself to be stuck in the box where all you get is chocolate filled with cream. You want to make sure that you get the nuts that you want. The
I
fulfilling
love
the
it.
feelings that you want. Um, and don't, how would I say this? I'm trying to keep things clean. um, when you meet your mate, or even in your relationship today, this is what I practice. And this, I'm newly married, I'm a newlywed, and so what I started practicing so that I'm not
Congratulations, girl.
because every relationship is different. I started looking at things differently, and I started asking God, okay, is this an asset or a liability? Meaning the behavior. Because sometimes we can rule our differences as a liability. So you want to make sure that when you look at the differences between you all, that you don't rule out your asset thinking it's a liability. So I just asked, okay, if this is an asset, then show me how to use it. Or is this something I put on the shelf for now so that I don't get offended, become easily offended and things like that. But if it's a liability, then God, now I need you to show me how to work with this. How do we get rid of this right here? Or how do I work around it? How do I make things better? Because I always say the different does not mean defeat, so to speak. Just because we're different don't mean we have to be defeated in our relationship. I don't really want anybody that's exactly like me anyway. I do like myself. I love myself, and I am my own company. I don't know what it feels like to be lonely. I tell people that I don't know if it's because I had plenty of kids, but I just don't understand. I don't know what it feels like to be lonely because I know how to entertain myself. And so you got to know how to entertain yourself, learn how to be with yourself, because if you're not a whole woman alone, you won't become a whole woman in a relationship. It's not that two halves make a whole. You put two half people together, you're gonna still be half.
The one. That's the
You
one.
need two whole people two whole people coming together makes a whole. And so it's just that we have to change how we see things and don't limit ourselves. Like I say, don't limit yourself to only what you know. You got to dig deeper. Search your own self out. We ask God, search us and know, our ways, everything about us. He says he knows our ups, our downs, he knows our shortfalls, he knows everything about us. So since God is the creator and he knows everything about me, I'm constantly asking him to help me understand me. And God help me to be a better me. And God, this right here I don't really like about me. And so how can I fix that? But this I love, but I don't want to be arrogant. And so I'm telling you, you just want to, you ask him to help you balance yourself out. Read self-help books. Get self-help books. I always tell people, if you're in a bad marriage, then find someone in a good one. If you don't know nobody, Google it. Google a good marriage. Find something good to look at in somebody else's marriage. Then the last thing I want to say is don't tell everybody the issues of your relationship, the issues of your marriage, because everybody can't handle it. And I learned years ago that long after you tell people what's going on in your relationship, I'm now the things that the abuse, well, of course, we need to tell somebody. But I'm saying just the general differences, just the general things that we don't care for about each other. Those things need to be worked out amongst ourselves. And if you're a praying person and you believe in God, amongst ourselves and God. But you can't tell people, because long after you have forgiven your mate, your family won't. Your friends won't. They'll continuously remind you of somebody, what they did to you. And they'll always say, I don't like him. I don't like him because he did this to you. I don't like him because he did that to you. So there's some things you share and some things you don't share. And so, and if you have wisdom in that area, hey, you can make it. You can make it in any relationship. And if you love yourself, you can make it, because you're
Amen.
going to settle for assets
Love
and
it.
not liabilities.
Love it.
Wow. That was so, so powerful.
Powerful.
Listen, if you're out there in the comments and you got something you want to say, we want to give you a few minutes to drop your comments in there. We know there's a delay, but we would love your feedback. We would love your feedback. First and foremost, we want you to know that you are not alone. Sometimes we feel like this is only happening to me, but it's not. That's why
Right.
it's so important that you put in place the things that Sandra has shared with us today. That you talk to God, because He will lead you. He will guide you. He says, if in all your ways you acknowledge me, I will lead and direct you. I always say you have to be prepared and willing and be obedient to what God tells you to do.
Yes.
First of all, God is not the author of confusion. So if you've been trying to say, well, I don't know what God's voice sound like, if you get in direction and it's bringing further confusion, I would tell you that that's not of God, because he is not the author of confusion. He's not going to give you something that's going to cause further confusion. In other words, let me say it like this. So your husband went out and did this or that, and now you feel like, okay, let me go do this or that. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna one up you. I hear you. That's not God, because that's adding more confusion, right? So that's not of God, you know. And I love how Sandra talked about the comparison piece, because oftentimes we compare ourselves to whether it's reality TV, whether it's your Hallmark romance movies, whether it's your friend's relationship, when you don't know what it took to get to where they at. A lot of times people be talking about they, I wish I had a husband like yours.
Mm.
You don't know.
You
You
see
don't
this
know.
side of him. What you
Right.
need to do is be the type of wife that I was for the husband that I had, so you can get
Yeah.
the husband that you need. Because you
Yeah.
don't know what we've had to go through to get to this point, you know. And my husband, he don't mind. I hope he ain't watching y'all, but I'm about to, sometimes, men can be bipolar.
Facts.
And so, and if you, let's say if it's that time of the month, so you off, he
Yeah.
off.
Yep.
It's a total mess. So I had to learn, A, to identify the warning signs when he was going through something emotionally or
Mm,
mentally. And if you want to know a good resource, Bishop T.D. Jakes wrote a book called He Emotions.
yes.
Mm.
That book changed my life. I read it because I was raising a son as a single parent. And it changed my life on how men are. I know Steve Harvey got his book out there, but I'm telling you about the book that I read that brought
Mm-hmm.
positive, healthy change in my life. So the first thing I had to realize was, when he off, I can't be off.
Mm-hmm.
So when he off, y'all, I'm on. And sometimes he get mad because he not getting a rise out of me. And then after the fact, I tell him we
Yeah.
both can't be off at the same time. I sense that you off, I'm gonna let you be off. And when he on, I'm not holding it over his head. I'm not, like Sandra saying, repeating that negative talk. You must have forgot how you was a few minutes ago. I'm like, I'm living in this moment. So you guys, don't thief is the comparison is the thief of success. You're
Yes.
looking for a successful relationship, don't be comparing to what somebody else got. So I should see we got a comment here, and then girl, whatever you want to say, and then we're gonna close this thing out. So we have a comment from Renee. She says this is one of the best shows. Sandra brought it today. The Hope Show on today. I needed this. I needed this. Absolutely. And guess what? We'll be back next week. It's a
Yeah.
four-part series, Women in Love. And yes, Sandra was phenomenal. Y'all,
Amazing.
that's my sister. That's my
Here.
sister right there. She is a
That's TT over
phenomenal,
there.
yeah, she is a phenomenal woman of God who has inherited the settlement. And when she
Yes.
talk about what she's gone through, that was my brother that she's talking about. And she would tell y'all, sometimes I used to say, you're not going to do my brother. Y'all, it was just one time, y'all, we just something funny. My brother had cut up, and he cut up. He cut up.
Mm.
And Sandra didn't deserve it. But it was one time he was ready to come back home, and Sandra said, I ain't going to get him. Y'all, I said, I'll go get my brother.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to go get him. I went and picked up my brother and brought him back home. Next thing I know, I looked up, my brother was back over there with Sandra. I said, no, I'll be. I'm thinking, but God has a way of working it out. And
Yes.
when Sandra talk about marriages that work, I tell her this all the time. Her marriage to my brother was an inspiration for me because they weathered the storms. Before he left this earth, she got to enjoy all the
Yes.
promises that God had promised her. And she had many occasions where she could have left, just justifiably so, should have left. But she weathered the storm, and God showed up and he turned it around. My brother became
Yeah.
the man who God created him to be. So out of that, I learned about patience. I learned that there is happy ever afters.
Yes.
So anytime somebody tell me that their marriage is just at the end, and if I have to use an example, now of course I can use my own marriage, but her marriage. So Sandra, I just want to publicly say thank you for being the wife you were to my brother. Thank you for being the mother you are to my nieces and nephews. Thank you for being the daughter you became to my father and my mother. Thank you for being the sister that you are to me, even though you started a new journey, a new love. I'm so happy for you because you deserve it. I love you, girl. If there ever was a mold for a sister by love, it should be you because
Thank
you
you.
are
Oh,
simply amazing. I don't want to have to stand up at a different occasion and say all these things. I want to say them to you while you can hear them. Girl, I love you. You are amazing. You are beautiful. You the Oreo to my milk. You the jelly to my peanut butter. You the butter in my grits. You are amazing. I love you, what you stand for. I love your integrity. I love your character. I love your wisdom. I love your prayer life. I love your God filled life. I love your destiny. I love your purpose. I love you in my borny voice. I love you. And that's a fact. And it can't ever be changed. All right,
Thank
y'all. Whew,
Amazing.
I love you, girl.
Love
And
you.
listen, if y'all don't have people in y'all life that you can say that about, and it be honest and sincere,
Yes.
it's time for you to make some changes. Women in love. That's what women in love do. And I'm serious. I've known Sandra for how long now, Sandra?
30 some years since I was 16. I'm 57.
And this is the honest truth here. I can't recall a time that we've ever fallen out, we ever stopped speaking, that
No.
we were ever mad at each other, that we I can't recall a time. I don't think it's ever happened. You know, and I could be wrong, Sandra.
I don't
Has
remember.
it ever happened?
Nope.
Not in this lifetime. We've been
And it
down
was,
like that, so it is possible. Say it
yeah.
again.
I said it wasn't because we were fake
Say it
sisters,
again.
it was because we were real and we always shared openly.
Absolutely,
We've had honest and
always.
sincere conversations.
You know, non-judgmental conversations
Non-judgmental conversations.
where we could be transparent and just chalk it up.
Yeah.
Didn't have to worry about it going somewhere else. Didn't have to worry about hearing it from somebody else.
Hmm.
The only other type of relationship that I know like this, like we've had, that I could say I witnessed was my mom had a friend, Hattie.
Hmm.
They never had a falling out. They never stopped talking. They were lifelong friends.
Yes.
So it is possible for women to get along. It's possible for family to get along. It's possible for us to love one another and be in love with one another. It's possible.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean she don't like everything that I've done? Absolutely not. Does that mean that I've liked everything that she's ever done?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But
That's
what it means is that we've always been open, transparent, non-judgmental, and honest.
right.
People who add value to your life. That's the type of people you need in your life. So, girl,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Thank you for being a sister. Thank you for being a friend. I don't know about Betty White and them Golden Girls,
Yeah.
but I know about Sandra Cole Holly.
Yes.
Thank you
Hey,
for
Cole.
being a friend. Thank you, girl. Whew.
And thank you
Okay,
all for
Aisha.
today. It's an honor, a
All right,
blessing.
Aisha, what you
for
got?
being a friend. Sorry, had to do that. But just to close us out, so if you are a person who maybe didn't recognize the signs of broken love or domestic violence, or if you know someone, as we mentioned, the phone number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Don't hesitate to be a helping hand, to, if it's your situation, reach out and get some help. This is not the end of your story, and it definitely doesn't have to be, but it's up to you to know when it's when you're tired, when you're done, when you want to be out of that situation. So just don't hesitate. Even you could email us here too at the Hope Show. Um, the coach is very good, a good person to talk to. And even Miss Sandra, that y'all heard that lady today, boy. Listen, two powerful women here on the stands with us. So don't ever feel like you're alone. Don't ever settle. If it is not befitting for you, let it go. Definitely you want to take time to heal yourself before you jump into something after the fact, if that's the case. But definitely know that you are the writer of your story. Nobody else has that pen to that paper. So just make sure you are doing what's best for you. Make sure you are happy, you're healing, you're healthy. Don't continue to hurt, but definitely heal. And that's just my final words. Like, this is a 4-part series, so we will be back next Sunday. I'm sure the ladies have some final words, so I'm gonna let them have their final words. But definitely, this was good. I definitely enjoyed being here today, and I definitely look further to what is to come.
Yeah.
Sandra, you want to do your closing words, and we'll
Well,
end it with the coach.
okay. Just want to say, take heed to the words you've heard from the coach and from Miss Aisha. Just take heed. Um, Let it settle in your spirit and your soul, and just go and be you. Be who you are. Be all you can be. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your relationships. Just decide that I'm going to enjoy my life and do it.
Yes, definitely. It's time
Loving
to
it.
start living and stop existing.
Yes.
It's time to start thriving.
Yes. And not just survive.
Thrive. Yes, exactly. I just want to thank you officially, Sandra, for being on our panelists today.
Yeah.
Aisha, you said that there were two phenomenal women. I see three
Yeah. Three.
phenomenal women. So thank you for who you are and how you contribute. To the women's empowerment move. You know, you have your brand She, which is strength, hope, and empowerment. This was birthed out of the She movement. You know, it's just sponsored by the Hope Show, but She is definitely on the move, and She is you. So thank you for what you're
Yeah.
doing in the community. You know, and listen, we put out the flyer. It was an open call. If you wanted to partake on the panel, if you've been here today and you said, you know what, I need to be on that panel next week. I got something that needs to be heard. All you need to do is DM us at the Hope Show, or you can email us at hopethisIsus@gmail.com. And we ask that you send a 2-minute video of, just you, why you think you would be good to be on the panel. And hey, we will make that happen. In my final thoughts and in my closing words, I just want you to know, listen, woman, hey, sis, hey, girl, you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be in love. As Sandra said, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are all that you can dream. If you can dream it, you can be it. So you guys be encouraged. We're going to be back probably within 5 or 10 minutes to do the giveaway because I need to locate the names. And this giveaway is for last week's Hope Show. There was a bundle from Sprinkle of Glam that we're going to be giving away. In order to be entered in the giveaway, you had to just share and tag last week's Hope show that aired. And then next Sunday in the Women's Empowerment Summit, we're going to be giving away another Hope bundle from our brand sponsor yesterday, which was Jackie O. She has skincare products. So you still have time to get in next week's giveaway. If you didn't do everything that you needed to do, we're going to give you a bonus. Hey, if you Share this video. If you tag someone in this video, we will enter you into the next week's giveaway as well. But we'll be back in about 5 or 10 minutes to do the live giveaway of the Sprinkle of Glam bundle. Um, it's February. It's the month for love, and I don't know if it was Galentine's Day. I don't know if that was yesterday. I forget if it's the Saturday before Valentine's Day or the day before Valentine's Day. But anyway, it's when you're supposed to celebrate your girlfriends. It's called Galentine's Day. So if you got girlfriends out there, love on them, celebrate them. Thank you for being a part of today's Women Empowerment Summit, Women in Love. See you guys next week. Sandra, if you can hang on for me, don't go anywhere.
Okay.